The Deck Network. Build a deck. Bam! This is the Deck Network. I'm your host, Mike Danzolio, and we have Mr. Met right here.
The co-host, Matt Dalton. Remember, here at the Deck Network, all decks, all
Great job, Matt.
the
Okay,
time.
so today's show is a show we do every year, and sometimes it gets a little long, so we're going to get right into it this year. This is how to attach grooved and non-grooved decking.
So you're saying there's more than one way to attach decking, Mike?
Yes. There's so we're going to get right into the videos from our friends at the Faster Master Company. The first one is Anthony DeSanto. He's been probably on the show 6 or 8 times.
He's a friend of the program.
Oh yeah, I see him. I actually ran into him the other night at a AZAC TimberTech event in New Jersey.
I was invited to that.
So let's. I didn't think you would worth me to go to. It takes 3
Jersey?
hours.
I'm sure there were
3
steaks,
hours.
lobsters,
It
what
takes
they
3
force
hours.
you to
Oh
eat,
yeah, they
Mike.
feed you, but
It was terrible. Lobster tails and shrimp. I couldn't. I would never.
You don't want 3 hours each way. That's a tough one. Okay, so let's get into. He's going to show us right now. The first one's going to be the Tiger. All right, Anthony.
All right, Mike.
What are we doing here?
Stage 2. So here we're going to show you the fastest installation of groove decking, specifically in the new AZEK Vintage line. And then we're going to show you how to hide fasteners where clips can't.
Okay.
Ready to go?
Okay.
So what you got here is Conceal Lock. A lot of contractors know this already. It's a Tiger Claw installation gun, pneumatic tool. Conceal Lock clip goes right on the nose piece. Scrail loaded on the inside, shot in like a nail, backed out like a screw, and it's really fast to install. Goes up into the groove.
Okay. Let's keep getting here.
No problem. Up into the groove, press down, pull your trigger, slide your clip out. Sorry, bud. Hit the head, and you basically have installed that board into that joist in one step. Now, if you needed to remove that board, no problem. You got a Phillips drive. You can back that scrail right out. Good to servicing decks, things like that. I'm going to throw a couple more in real quick. Another great feature about this system, Mike, is that it automatically gaps your deck boards. So now you got a nice consistent 1/8 inch gap on your AZEK, 3/16 on your TimberTech.
Okay, Matt, what'd you think of that?
Great job, as always, by Anthony. Really interesting stuff there, Mike. I think I learned something. A scrail?
A scrail is
A scrail shoots in like a nail, backs out like a screw. That was really cool, man.
Yeah, it's a screw nail, and they put it together, and this is one right here. It goes into that gun, and it just blasts it right in. Some people would rather still use the traditional screw with a screw gun. It depends on how many and how large these decks are you doing. Yes, I've had guys that say they prefer to just screw it in, because once your time you're playing around with the gun and the hose and all that other stuff, it just takes less time to just do them like this. But you can still use the same product with the same clip, and you use a screw that goes with it.
Seems
But
like
again,
it's the best
scrail.
of both worlds
Okay,
there.
our next one is back with Anthony again, and Anthony's going to show us the Cortex. Let's bring those out. Cortex, okay?
We've seen Cortex for a while now
Yeah,
on this
Cortex
program.
is great stuff.
These are the plugs.
Fully endorsed by the Deck Network. So here you go.
And you
Anthony.
can't buy that authorization.
There are areas on a deck where you cannot hide fasteners with a clip. So we have a Cortex system. A couple of the nice features about the new Cortex system is that it does have that same drive system with the trim as the decking. So same concept applies here, where you're no pre-drilling. Drive a fastener all the way down, creates a nice clean hole in the deck board. And then the plugs are made of the exact same deck board material. So with Vintage, you got a nice grain pattern. Place it in the hole. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And with this board, it really disappears. There's a couple right there. So it's a really nice finishing touch on a hidden fasten deck.
Great stuff. Okay, Matt, what'd you think of Cortex?
Unbelievable, man. This has been on the show for a while. It seems like we move a ton of it here at the Deck Network.
Yes, it's this is the nicer. It's a little more expensive. People are going to say, why would you use one or the other? Well, this one, you don't see it at all. You see a little round hole, but you have to get down on your hands and knees to look at those things.
Now, is it a different screw?
The screw is different. All these screws are proprietary screws, very different. It has a cutting head on it, so it screws in like a regular screw. And then once it gets up about 2/3 of the way, then it starts drilling the hole. And it drills a perfect hole for the little plug to go into. And then you have the little set tool here, which it drills it in, and it has the little felt piece.
What's that, to prevent
And
it
that
from...
stops it because,
Okay.
like I said, it would go right through the board. And so this stops it. The depth is already pre-engineered in that. You take a little plug, line up the grain or whatever color it is to see what it and just tap it home, and it looks great. They never come out. The only way, how could it ever, is if you got water inside at first, and then in the winter, if it froze, it might push it out a little bit, but after a while, it could probably pap. I've never seen them come out, but the question is, can you get them out? And you can get them out. Use a real sharp screw. This doesn't happen to be. They call it a 17-point, real sharp. These deck screws that we have, and you just put
Pry
it,
'em
you
up.
just put, you know, pry it, just drill it into the cortex and plug, and it jumps
Oh,
right out.
like a corkscrew
Yeah,
almost.
just like that, but faster.
And I'll tell you, when you zoomed in on that video there, I couldn't tell where the plugs were, Mike.
They look
Blend
great.
right
it
in,
looks great.
seamless.
Okay, let's get to the next. Anthony has his next one,
Okay.
and this one's going to be the color match screw, and so let's get right into that.
Bam.
All right. Okay, step number 3.
Step number 3, Mike. How many different types of deck boards do you stock?
20
different types.
colors there.
So between cap stock, PVC, traditional composites, it's not always easy to find a great surface fastener for it. What we've done is Trapeze 3 gives you the ability to do 3 of the major types of deck boards: composite, PVC, and cap stock decking, all with one fastener, guaranteed no pre-drilling to look great. In addition to that, we got a lid on the box that actually acts as a spacer. It's going to gap your decking and align the screws. So the packaging works as hard as the screw. Again, no pre-drilling on this. Same type of drive system as well. It's the Torx T-Tap. This is Trex. And you know, this is a pretty tough capstock board. And without pre-drilling, you get a nice clean look, no mushrooms there. Sorry. You can throw one more down here as well. Finish this up. So again, real dense composites, PVCs, a lot of those areas, you know, specialty fasteners were needed in the past. Trapeze 3 boards, 1 fastener, makes it a lot easier.
As usual, a lot of great stuff from my good friends at Fasten Master.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks again. Okay, Matt, what do you think of color matched screws?
Oh, man, really great. You know, why are they different?
If you took a regular screw, a regular wood screw with a wood, as opposed to a metal which has a tighter grain grip on it, and then
Okay.
it's a wood screw, and you put it into a piece of these composite decking, it pulls it in, but where does the material go? It comes up, and that's what the mushroom is. It has a little, like a dimple on it.
That was my next question.
Yeah,
What's
what
the
is
mushroom?
a mushroom?
Yeah.
And
Other
so
than
this
something,
screw,
a fungus for a
and
salad.
when it'll go in about 2/3 of the way, and then it has a reverse thread or a different. There's a few different brands. The Anthony's one has. There's one right over there. There's next piece over there. There's Anthony's one, and then there's another one by Starborn. It's made a little bit different. This one might be the TimberTech one, but they're all a little different, but they all do the same thing. They have a different thread pattern, the last 20%, and that just pulls the material in instead of letting it push out. And when the screw sets it in, you stop it, and it's the same color. We buy screws at No Maintenance Decks, and we have about 15 or 16 different colors of screws to go with all the different deckings.
So they're all going to match.
Yeah, so they match. And why would you use that one? It just costs less. A box of screws in the 350 pack is about $34. So 350 pieces covers about 100 square feet. So you're in there 35 cents a square foot. Whereas a Cortex is going to be like 75 cents, but well worth it. It's
It all depends on your budget.
yeah,
For the most
great,
part.
yeah, real good stuff. So we have 2 more. We have the next one's going to be one of Matt's old favorites.
Are we talking the camo tool here, Mike?
Yeah, the camel tool.
I know how to work this tool. You got to watch this.
Let's get into it. Okay, today I'm with Chip Menger from the Camo Company. Camo has always been one of my favorite little products. I like the little uniqueness of the product. Chip, show us what you have.
Absolutely. What we have here is we have a number of of different size tools that are used, guides to put in our fasteners. And the big difference on the guides is the different size of the spacing.
Yes.
We have 1/16, 1/8 inch, and we have a 3/16. Then we also have a tool that does a no gap for treated wood if you want to butt them tight together so that once they shrink, you have a gap.
Okay.
But the product itself, we have a very neat screw. And it's not your, it's not a normal screw. There's not a tip on there. The tip of this screw actually acts as a boring head. So we're actually drilling a hole as we're putting the screw in, which reduces all the problems of most fasteners, being that we'll get splits and splinters and cracks.
Because we're taking out some of the material instead of just pushing it apart.
Absolutely. We're not separating the fibers, we're cutting them and removing them.
Okay.
So with the guide, we put one fastener on the one side, we put another fastener on the other side, and then with the bit that is included in each box of fasteners, we set it, we start it, let it work its way in. Now you heard that little noise, which is this shoulder is hitting the top of the guide. What that does is stops that drilling, so every screw is exactly perfectly in at the proper depth. We do the same thing on the other side. Pull her off, and there you go. No fasteners on the surface of the board.
It works great with grooved and non-grooved boards also.
Absolutely no difference.
Yeah.
It works great. Cost-wise, you know, with grooved boards, you can put clips down, and you're going to pay 4 to 5 times more
Yes.
for the clip than you will for the cam.
Yeah, so these are in the 25 cents a square foot, whereas some of the proprietary clips are, we see anywhere from 90 to $1.25 a square foot. So you definitely hit a good price point. It can be used on many different boards, not just non-groove boards, but groove boards also. It can also be used on hardwoods, like we have a piece of Ipe, it looks like right
Correct.
here.
Yep.
And and it works great because again, we're drilling a hole
We're
at the
removing-
same time.
As you can see right here, we've got just the amount of material that was removed from the Ipe board. So that's the drilling effect.
Good.
So you can pre-drill if you want, but if you take your time and allow our product to work, that's the result.
All right, Chip. Always been a big fan of the camo tool.
Thank you so much
Thanks
for
again.
coming by.
Great for showing us.
No better way to put a deck down.
Okay, great.
Okay,
Thank
Matt,
you.
what do you think of that?
Well,
one?
let me take this, Mike, since I am a camo tool, expert. Helped me get my deck done several years back. Very easy to use. I'm all thumbs here, and I was able to easily apply the camo tool right over the board, set your screws, and you can't see anything. Real easy to do.
Yeah.
Even a caveman can do it.
Yeah,
Me.
it's great stuff by the Camo Company. There's a lot of different screws and how they go in and lengths, but for the most part, it takes away the material out. As you saw on that Ipe board, it pulled the material out and left it on the joist. But Matt used this on his deck.
Yep.
And you would use this on non-groove boards. You can use it on groove boards. It depends on what you're used to and your level of comfort.
Yep.
For the most part, we just sell the clips and the either the color match screws, the Cortex. But the camo tool, we probably sell, I don't know, 10 decks worth of that a year. But you would use that because the decking that I have here at No Maintenance Decks is going to be grooved. But
So you got
some of the other
clips.
products, like if you use a cedar or a treated wood, it works great for that because they're not grooved. And some of the different deckings that do come just non-grooved, we use a camo tool on that one. Camo tool is only about 25 cents a square foot, so they're really inexpensive, good value product.
Cedar decks, people are still using wood for decks these days, Mike?
Man, they cost less to put in, but over time they cost more. Because they just, we have a treated deck, yeah, you're gonna have to stain it every few years. These cedar decks, even if you do stain them, 6 to 10, 12 years, that's it, and then you're replacing the whole deck again. So
Penny wise, dollar
yeah,
foolish.
yeah, so
but
that's-
we digress here. What are we talking about?
the next
Hidfast?
one, yeah,
Is that
our next video is Hidfast with our good friend Glenn Tebow
We know
from
him.
the Hidfast company. Here we go.
Bam.
Hi, we're with my good old friend Glenn Tebow from Hidfast.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Show us what you got. This is great for how to attach decking, and this product works for non-groove boards. So
Correct.
let's take a look at what you have.
All right. What we got here is called the Hidfast system. And we'll show you the cutaway here, which looks just like that.
Take a look at this. This is how it it goes into the first board, down into the cleat goes down into the frame or the joist, and the next tongue comes out, and that holds the next board in.
Let's show you how fast it'll work, Mike.
Okay.
We got a positioning pin right here that'll center you on the joist. Slide it into place. 1, 2, 3.
Nice. And then you just pick up the next board and tap it in.
Yes. Never on my knees. I always just reach out, get the next board, bring it up, work from one side to the other. Drive it in here, just keep working down. That's it.
It's been around for a long time, so it's certainly a proven system.
Okay, man. Hit fast. What'd you think of that one?
Glenn does a great job. He's moving around with that gun. He's got it going on.
Oh
pretty good.
yeah, well he saw a need many years ago, and he came into that. That board, sure, you can use it on grooves board. It's not going to go into a capped composite board as well as it's going to go through a PVC board, because that's really what it was designed for, was for the AZAC decking. And there are pockets of the country, and from what I understand in South Jersey, they sell a lot of the standard AZAC decking that's non-grooved, and those have the and you just blast that right in with that hit-fast gun. Those have been working great for a long time. He has a different size gun that works for treated wood. It all depends on what the type of gap that you're looking for. But great stuff, been around a long time. All right, that's it for today's show, Matt.
That's it, man. Great show.
You know, we try to keep them fast moving. This one is how to attach groove and non-groove boards. This one is a very popular show because everyone has that same question. How do you put the decking down?
If you're liking the shows, like it here on the YouTube page, comment, leave us an email, Mike at the Deck Network, Matt at the Deck Network. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay, that's it for today's show. Have a great day.
Ciao for now.
Bye.